When Prentice and Dionne Motley married in 2004, they both had good jobs. They also had $30,000 in student loans and credit card debt. But that didn't stop them from spending more on wants than needs.
A lot of the discretionary income that we would have, we would spend it on, material things, and we weren't looking at the big picture.
Before long, the Motleys were living paycheck to paycheck.
It was definitely frustrating. You find yourself in a bind, and you're looking for a solution to get out of it as quickly as possible.
Their solution was to use payday loans to get by. But as the high interest piled up, their financial situation started to snowball. By 2006, between a mortgage, 2 car payments, student loans, and credit cards, their debt had grown to $250,000.
I'd say off and on on a period of a year, we were using payday loans, and the interest rates are just astronomical. We were in over our heads.
We realized that, okay, this isn't working for us. This cannot be what God intended for us to do. So how do we fix this?
Overwhelmed by their debt, they finally went to God.
We were in prayer, we fasted for God to give us direction as far as becoming debt-free.
It was then they realized they had been neglecting to tithe, and that became the first order of business.
So when we were able to take it back to the basics of, okay, let's give God our first fruits, then where do we go from there?
With tithing now a priority, the Motleys wrote out a 10-year plan to get out of debt. They got control of their spending, and Prentice picked up as much overtime as he could. That's when they noticed some blessings. Dionne got a pay raise, and Prentice received 2 bonuses. All told, they made nearly $30,000.
It was clear that God's favor was upon our lives. It was evident that we were moving in the right direction, and that God blessed us.
And they say those blessings continued to pour in. And instead of taking 10 years, the Motleys were debt-free in only 18 months. During that time, the couple decided to take what God had taught them to create Motley Financial Solutions, teaching millennials the biblical principles of stewardship and tithing.
My heart's desire really became to show people how to avoid the mistakes that we made, but then also give them life practical ways of managing their finances, being responsible, and becoming better stewards.
Today, the Motleys are still debt-free, and they give God all the glory.
I know that we're favored. I know it. And I don't doubt for one second. So I am just ecstatic of all the blessings that God has done.
It's all about obedience and you doing what God asked of you to do, which is to give 10%. And so what that really means is, out of your obedience, give me 10%, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to match and add to it. But not only that, I'm going to give you overflow. How can you say no?
How can you say no? Wouldn't you like to, in 2021, have the assurance you're walking in God's favor? What a wonderful feeling that would be, where you would know with a certainty that you have the favor of God on your life. It's one of the few times we get to test Him, and we get to test Him with our tithes and offerings. And He says, prove me now in this, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven. Here's another verse for you to consider, particularly in these days of trouble. And when you have the favor of God, you can pray this over yourself. It's from Psalm 50. Call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. For that wonderful family, they saw the glory of the Lord dawn on their life. When you start talking about $250,000 in debt being wiped out in the time period that they experienced, that's the glory, that's the favor. You can have that in your life if you just follow the same principle. When you go through life confident that God is with you, He's going to be with you in the day of trouble. He will deliver you from everything that's going wrong. He will do these things for you, all because you obey the voice of the Lord. When you live this way, wonderful things can happen. Now, if you want to start a lifetime of giving, this isn't an on-again, off-again thing. It's a commitment. I'm putting God first. I want to tithe. I want to have tithes and offerings. If you'd like to do that, give us a call. 1-800-700-7000. Just say, I want to join the 700 Club. How much is that? Well, it's just $20 a month. That's 65 cents a day. Some of you can join at 700 Club Gold. That's $40 a month. 1,000 Club is $1,000 a year. That breaks out to $84 a month. At whatever level God is putting on your heart, do it now. Give us a call, 1-800-700-7000. When you call and join the 700 Club, I want you to have this. It's my father's latest book. It's called I Have Walked with a Living God. It's his testimony of his walk with God since the founding of CBN, 60-plus years of walking with God, obeying the voice of the Lord. And because of his obedience, everything you're seeing, God has increased. God has blessed. God has given favor. And my father gives you the stories of what happened and what he was praying and how God was answering. It's yours when you join. 1-800-700-7000.